Maharaj kai vari likhde hai, is there a Gurmukh that can understand and unlock the mystery behind the Shabad? Sometimes Guru Sahib is writing it directly, this is a mystery I'm writing for you. Who can unlock this Bani? Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, Bhai Gurdas Ji is able to unlock this Bani to help you understand it. Bhai Gurdas Ji was that person that went to Gwalior Kila with Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj. We see Akal Takht Sahib as our political, temporal, supreme authority. And the only two people that were allowed to lay the bricks were Bhai Gurdas Ji and Baba Buddha Ji. Bhai Gurdas Ji and Baba Buddha Ji were the teachers of the Sheme Pacha. Baba Buddha Ji was appointed the first Granthi Singh of Harbandar Sahib, and who was appointed the first Akal Takht Jathedar was Bhai Gurdas Ji. How blessed Bhai Gurdas Ji must have been for Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj to say, you go into a far off land, whatever you say is the word of the Guru. For them to be able to speak and argue on behalf of the Guru, for them to be able to be a scribe of the Guru. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, your words will help unlock the spiritual meanings and help the Sangat understand what is behind Gurbani. And therefore it became known as Bhai Gurdas Ji, the key to unlocking Gurbani.
हम गरीब मस्कीन प्रभ तेरे हम गरीब मस्कीन प्रभ तेरे हर राख राख वड वड्डा है जन नानक नाम आधार टेक है हर नाम में ही सुख मंडा हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी। हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी। हर हर कथा सुनी मन पाई।
हर हर कथा सुनी मन पाई।
हर हर कथा सुनी मन पाई। हर हर कथा सुनी मन पाई। गुरमत हर लेव लागी।
गुरमत हर लिव लागी।
गुरमत हर लिव लागी। गुरमत हर लिव लागी। हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी। हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी। हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी। हर के संत जना हर जपे ओ। हर के संत जना हर जपे ओ। तिनका दुख भरम पौ पागी। तिनका दुख भरम पौ पागी। तिनका अपनी सेवा आप कराई। अपनी सेवा आप कराई। गुरमत अंतर जागी। गुरमत अंतर जागी। हर हर कथा सुनी मन पाई। हर हर कथा सुनी मन पाई। गुरमत हर लिव लागी। गुरमत हर लिव लागी। हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी। हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी। हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी। हर के नाम संत जना की जात हर स्वामी। संत जना की संत जना की जात हर स्वामी। भावे त्यों रख ले। हम शरण प्रभ आए राम राजे, हम फूल बिगाड़े दिन सरात। हम फूल बिगाड़े दिन सरात, हर लाज रखाए। हम बारिक तू गुर पिता है, दे मत समझाए। जन नानक दासर कांडिया, हर पैज रखाए। जैसी मत देव हो हर स्वामी,
जैसी मत देव हर स्वामी।
तू समरथ वड्डा, मेरी मत थोड़ी राम। जैसी मत देव हो हर स्वामी, जैसी मत
देव हर स्वामी।
हम तैसे बुलग बुलागी,
तैसे बुलग बुलागी।
हम तैसे बुलग बुलागी। हर हर कथा सुनी मन पाई। हर हर कथा सुनी मन पाई। गुरमत हार लिवलागी। गुरमत हार लिवलागी। हार के नाम रत्ता बैरागी। 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 क्या हम किरम नानक की रे।
नानक की रे।
क्या हम किरम नानक की रे।
हम किरम नानक की रे।
तुम वड पुरख वडागी।
वड पुरख वडागी।
तुम वड पुरख वडागी।
वड पुरख
वडागी। तुमरी गत मित कहना सक है प्रभ।
गत मित कहना सके
प्रभ तुमरी गत मित कहना सक है। प्रभ तुमरी गत मित
कहना सके प्रभ।
हम क्यों कर मिल है अपागी।
मिल है स्वामी।
हम क्यों कर मिल है अपागी। हर हर कथा सुनी मन पाई। हर हर कथा सुनी मन पाई। गुरमत हर लिवलागी। गुरमत हर लिवलागी। हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी। हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी। हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी। हर के नाम रत्ता कृपा करो दीन के दाते कृपा करो दीन के दाते मेरा गुण अवगण ना विचारो कोई माटी का क्या तो पे स्वामी माटी का क्या तो पे स्वामी मानस की गत यही हर प्रभु स्वामी कृपा तार हो
स्वामी कृपा तारो
हम हर हर सेवा लागी
हर हर सेवा लागी
हम हर हर सेवा लागी हम हर हर
सेवा लागी
नानक दासन दास करहो प्रभ
नानक दासन दास करो प्रभ
नानक दासन दास करहो प्रभ
नानक दासन दास करो प्रभ
हम हर कथा कथा की
हर कथा कथा की
हम हर कथा कथा की हम हर कथा कथा की हर हर कथा सुनी मन पाई हर हर कथा सुनी मन पाई गुरमत हर लिवलागी गुरमत हर लिवलागी हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी हर के नाम रत्ता बैरागी हर के नाम हर के नाम हर के नाम रत्ता
The ones that are truly imbued in God's love, their life, their teachings, the seva, the service that Guru Sahib works through them and has them do, they are immeasurable. When we remember the great Vidya Martand, Gyani, Jathedar, Sevak, servant, the great Bhai Gurdas Ji, on their days, in what form do we really attempt to remember them? Do we remember them as a scribe of Guru Granth Sahib Ji? Do we remember them as the great knowledgeable scholar that they were? Or do we remember them as the great writer, the great teacher that they were? Or do we remember them as the first Akal Takht Jathedar, as the great leader that they were? Or do we remember them as the person that stood on guard for the Guru's house in times when the Sangat needed them most? So pyareo, these qualities that when we remember somebody like the great Bhai Gurdas Ji, which commonly sometimes, and many times actually, the youth today, they hear somebody like me sit on stage and I might quote Bhai Gurdas Ji. I might say, and Bhai Gurdas Ji says this. And many of you hear that, okay, does that mean something to us? Kai vari, somebody like me, Kathavachak keh jande a कि भाई गुरदास जी कहंदे हन, and they say a quote, and to most of the youth that usually doesn't mean much because they don't know who Bhai Gurdas Ji is. But it's actually very, very important when somebody like me says this is written by Guru Arjan Dev Ji, or this is written by Guru Nanak Dev Ji, or this is written by Guru Gobind Singh Ji, this is written by Bhai Desa Singh Ji, Bhai Mani Singh Ji, Bhai Nandlal Ji, this is written in Gurbalas, this is written by Kavi Santokh Singh Ji, this is written by Ratan Singh Pangu. When we mention these sort of names, immediately your mind should go somewhere. And what I want to attempt today is try to open up that door for you today. Because many times we're looking for answers. We're looking for understanding of Gurbani to make things relatable. Because that's what the job is. Somebody that tries to talk about and teach about Gurbani, they've got one job. Somebody that's trying to do the seva that I do, or I attempt to do, I should say, they've got one job. And their job is to try to make Gurbani relatable so you can understand it. Simple as that. From Vidwans and scholars from the beginning of time, from based on their era, that's what their attempt was. That's what their job was. कि आम समाज विच कि जिहड़ी विद्या आ आम संगत नूं समझ आ जावे. That was it. So really, Bhai Gurdas Ji was the original basics of Sikhi. When people asked them questions and they said, Gurbani is profound, but how was the world created? Did you know Bhai Gurdas Ji answers that? Gurbani talks about the 4 jugs. Can you explain them to us? Bhai Gurdas Ji explains that. When the question was asked, this name is mentioned in Gurbani, or these are the Gursikhs back in the day, I heard Guru Sahib Ji mention, but I don't know who they were. Bhai Gurdas Ji opens up and explains those stories. Hold on, how do I understand this? Bhai Gurdas Ji thinks, what analogy can I use to help you understand this? Can I use a pizza analogy? Can I use a car, you driving down the highway? Is that an analogy you will understand? Guess what an analogy at the time somebody would understand? They would understand the lotus flower and the bumblebee. They would understand the fish in the river. They would understand somebody plowing a field and trying to plant a seed. They knew automatically the environment that is required to plant the seed. Nobody needs to explain that. Just like me saying, like you drive to work in the morning. Maybe in 100 years from now or 200 years from now, somebody might not understand. What do you mean? What is Vancouver traffic like? What is traffic like that time like? And somebody might have to explain. Back in the day, people used to go to work and they used to drive. And they used to sit and there was something called red lights. Maybe that was not an era that they will live in. But they would have to be explained and told that this is what the environment is like. In the same way, somebody understood without saying. Like I would have to explain to you what a kaiya is. I would have to explain to you how to plant a seed, how to plow a field. And then most of the youth today will understand, that's a good example, but couldn't you have made it simpler? Bhai Gurdas Ji at the time, when they went to Kabul, when they went to Kanchi, when they went all the way to Sri Lanka, when they went out towards the east and the west, and they were met with Sangat to say, what is Guru Sahib saying? You teach on behalf of Guru Sahib Ji. What are you trying to explain here? And so I want to attempt to open up Bhai Gurdas Ji's Varan to you. I want to help open up these texts to you, where you can go in and find these answers and read them, because, believe it or not, you are reading them already without knowing it. Tusi Bhai Gurdas Ji diyan Varan te Kabit Savaiye pehla hi padh rahe hain. You are already reading them. Yet sometimes, many times, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੇ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਕਰਦੇ, those of you that come into Sangat, that read Gurbani regularly, that have been reading for a long time, you guys know this. But those of you that are entering Sangat for the first time, you're being introduced to Gurbani, that this is the first year you're opening up Ay Gurbani or Sikhi to the max, and you're searching and you're saying, oh, this is a Shabad that I heard. Or you just go to the Gurdwara Sahib, somebody reads a Shabad and you read it on screen, and you don't have the understanding yet to know where is this rag placed in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. When normally a reader of Gurbani, they see rag Jajavanti, they read Slok Malla Nama, they automatically know this is at the very end of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. When they see Sri Rag, they automatically know that this is at the very beginning. But somebody else might not. When they hear the Shabad, Suni Pukar Daatar Prabh Guru Nanak Jag Mahi Bathaya, this Shabad is saying across every Gurdwara around the entire world, it will be on your Instagram feeds in the next month. During the days of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj's Prakash Purb. Those days will be there. And those Shabads will be there, but we don't know where it's coming from. That is a var of Bhai Gurdas Ji, explaining what the birth of Guru Nanak Dev Ji was like. So, Pyareo, before we get into that, let's quickly go through this Shabad, jada aapa hune ga ke hate hain. Because when you look just briefly through the Shabad jada tusi sarvan kita, this Shabad will explain Bhai Gurdas Ji precisely. Directly ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਭਾਈ ਗੁਰਦਾਸ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਸੇਵਕ ਦੀ ਹੋਂਦ ਕਿਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਮਝਣਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ. First to understand what is the level of somebody like Bhai Gurdas Ji. Then we'll go into a little bit of the life of Bhai Gurdas Ji. Then we'll discuss some of their vara and the greatness of somebody like that and what we can take out of that. How we can utilize these tools to grow our own Sikhi in our own lives. Pyareo, Harida Sant, the saint of God, is that not only recites God's name themselves, but is able to inspire others to recite it. And in the previous months that we've been doing these programs, we've talked about this in detail, so I can only touch upon it right now. Ki aap jape, avra naam japave. Oh, aap japde hai, but only somebody that has walked that walk can explain to you how to make the right turn and the left turn. If somebody that hasn't gone down that road can't explain, it's going to be a little bit rough at this patch. Be careful, there's a sharp turn at this corner. If somebody's not gone down that corner, then they can sit on a podcast all night. They can keep explaining whatever they want. They can post whatever they want online, but they will not be able to explain what that walk of the saints is like. I say this with humility, not everybody deserves a broadcast. ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਿਆ ਨਾ ਉਹੀ ਉਸ ਮਾਰਗ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਆ। ਆਪ ਜਪੈ ਅਵਰੈ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਾਵੇ। ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਪ੍ਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ ਉਹੀ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਆ, ਬਾਕੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਚੱਕ ਮਾਰਦੇ ਆ। ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਗੱਲੀ ਜੋਗ ਨਾ ਹੋਈ, just through mere conversations this is not found. This is deep introspection. This is you walking the walk. Whether you can explain it or not, somebody's reached the destination. And you'll realize once you reach the moon, as an example, you reach the moon, everybody else is still talking about how to get there. And you'll be looking at them and say, I wish I could explain it to them now. But ਉਹ ਵਿਚਾਰੇ ਆਖੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦੇ। ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਇਹ ਸਾਧੂ ਦੀ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਆ। ਉਹ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ? ਉਹ ਆਪ ਜਪਦੇ ਆ। They are able to experience it and share that with the world. Then, ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, they attain those states of Vairag. ਉਹ ਆਪ, let's go back to the Shabad. They are able to attain those states of Vairag. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਆਪ ਦਾ ਭਰਮ ਗਿਆ. All their doubts are gone. And so now they're able to go and dispel other people's doubts. If you are deluded by doubt yourself, it's impossible to go to somebody else and say, you know what, this is how I overcame it, because you haven't overcome it yet. Pyareo, asal vich Bhai Gurdas Ji, in the very beginning of their lives, how have they done bhakti? How did they learn under Guru Amardas Ji Maharaj, who was actually their Taya Ji? ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਤਾਇਆ ਜੀ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ. Because Guru Amardas Ji's younger brother is Baba Ishar Singh Ji. Ishar Das' son is Bhai Gurdas Ji. Bhai Gurdas Ji and Bibi Bani Ji, they are cousins. The daughter of Guru Amardas Ji and Ishar Das Ji are cousins because they're brothers. And Bibi Bani Ji is married to, you know who? Guru Ramdas Ji. And Guru Ramdas Ji and Bibi Bani Ji have a son whose name is Guru Arjan Dev Ji. And so, who is Bhai Gurdas Ji? They are the Mama Ji of Guru Arjan Dev Ji. Pyareo Mama Ji lage. They are their mother's cousin. And so this is how the relationship happens within. They're from the family of Guru Amar Das Ji. Their sister is married into the house of Guru Ram Das Ji, and they are the maternal uncle of Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj. Now what does their role look like? They have removed their doubts, Pyareo. Now they have attained that state of Vairag. They are bestowed with this knowledge where they're doing Katha. And they are traveling everywhere when they go from place to place to place. ਉਹ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਕਥਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਥਾ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਭਰਮ ਦੂਰ ਕਰਦੀ ਆ. But what are they actually like? What is their bhavna? Is it, I'm the one that's doing something? ਮੈਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਗਿਆਨ ਵਰਤ ਰਿਹਾ? ਨਹੀਂ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ. They treat themselves like they are the puppet of the Guru. And their name very beautifully goes directly with what their life is like. A Guru servant. So now Bhai Gurdas Ji, at the age of 12 years old, their father passes away. They joined Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj in Govindwal Sahib. This is where they learned every language. Sanskrit, Punjabi, Farsi. They learned all of these languages, every vidya that you can possibly imagine in the Guru's house. Once they learned all of these languages, they were able to learn Gurbani. They were doing seva of Guru Sahib Ji, and there came times when Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj set out 12 manjiyan. They had 52 speakers or teachers, you can say Parchariks, that were sent out through 22 different establishments called the Bhai Manjiyan. And one of those manji that was very far, close to the area of Agra. This is south of Delhi. The main Parcharik, the main person that was established at this area, their name was Bhai Gurdas Ji. Bhai Gurdas Ji was only 17, 18 years old at the time. This was not something that, oh, you know what, preaching about religion, that's what the old men do. Nahin. 17, 18-year-old Bhai Gurdas Ji is in Agra teaching to people about Sikhi. Now they are being faced with questions. Just like when somebody that tries to teach about Sikhi to somebody that has no idea, they will challenge it. They will say, who are these people? Who are these Sikhs? What is their belief based on Islam, based on Hinduism? What is their faith? What about creation? What do they believe about this? There are many questions. Well, if you're saying God is non-dual, then why do we see duality within the world? Just like questions we ask. If God exists, why do bad people exist within the world? If God is omnibenevolent and loves everybody, then why is there war in the world? You know, every simple basics of Sikhi question you can possibly think of. That's why I said, Bhai Gurdas Ji is like the original. Yet we've not looked into their texts. Who's that responsibility on? Is that on me only alone? Is it just on me, like, nah, you know what, Harman Singh is not that relatable. So then you become relatable. Learn the same Vara, learn the same Gurbani, and then go relate to the world. That's what Bhai Gurdas Ji did. That all the responsibility of the Panth is not on my shoulders. Bhai Gurdas Ji, Vidya Lai, they went and spoke on behalf of their Guru. Jithe bhi jaake, unhon swal koi jawab karta hai. They spent years doing this. They came back during the times of Guru Ramdas Ji Maharaj, seva kiti, sangat kiti. There was times even when Prithi Chand, who was the son of Guru Ramdas Ji, he started having Irkha and jealousy towards their younger brother Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, and Bhai Gurdas Ji was the one that would go and give them Sikhya. Because they are technically their uncle. They're allowed to go and scold their nephew. They played such a role that there became a time when they were outgone towards Kanchi. They were speaking with people at the time that were the top scholars. If you don't know about that history of that area, Kanchi is like the area where the top scholars would get together. They would share their poetry, they would share their findings, their research, and they would even debate each other in what we might say, the modern day Harvard, Yale, Oxford universities, where the best scholars are getting together and they're debating, they're having research conferences. We just name them differently, but they're happening in a different culture, in a different time. Kanchi was that place where now Bhai Gurdas Ji is now speaking. So if you look into the Kabit Savaiye, if you went into those conversations and you didn't even know your Uda Eda, this is what I mean. Bhai Gurdas Ji is at a very high level, and their Vara are so simplified to the level that you and I can actually understand it, which is what you and I are looking for. You know what the biggest reason why youth, not just in Sikhi, but any faith, you talk about Islam, you look at Christianity, you look at any faith in the world, why are they moving away and not able to connect with religion or Dharm in general? The biggest factor is relatability. The second factor is sense of community. The third factor is their trauma. The fourth factor is their lack of accessibility. Then, not having the ability of proper role models. And the sixth is that they're having identity crisis because they're living in multiple different types of worlds and they're being bombarded with what they see online. These are the reasons which I just put in front of you. And so when you walk into the Guru's house and you say, you know what, I'm feeling empty on the inside. I believe somewhere inside of me that Sikhi has the answers, but I'm not able to find them. What approach do I take to be able to go and find these answers for myself? How do I build relatability? Let me give you this beautiful example before I get into anything else. Bhai Gurdas Ji, in one of their Vaars, ek Vaaran de vich na, they talk about Laila Majnu. And when you hear this right away, you might think, hold on, Laila Majnu, isn't that a story like Romeo Juliet? Taru Popat, Laila Majnu, Heer Ranjha. These are love stories. The typical Romeo Juliet Shakespeare stories that you hear of the girl and the guy weren't allowed to get married, and then they ran away from home, and through their love they showed the world through their death that this is what love is like. And why would Bhai Gurdas Ji be talking about this? I want you to think about this, and I want you to think about relatability with what we're just talking about. You know, at your age, you might not understand those shabads when they're talking about Pachasi pag khisse satti ka budepa aave. That at the ages of 50, in my 50s, I can't even walk properly. At 60, then I'm old now, my hair is turned all white. And somebody that's 17 might be like, I'm not at that age yet. That's not relatable to me. But somebody that is at that age, they might realize, you know what, that's true. I've seen all of the relationships to be false, so then now I place my faith in the Guru. But you at 18, 25, 30, 40 even, might think, that's okay, I'll think about that later. But you will relate to Heer Ranjha, Romeo, Juliet. And the first question comes up, why is Bhai Gurdas Ji talking about these? Why are they explaining these stories? They say this entire world knows about these stories. Sari duniya jaandi hai is sakhiyan bare. And Bhai Nandalal Ji actually writes something very beautiful as well. And they say, don't tell me these stories of Laila Majnu, Heer Ranjha, because my mind will go insane. Why? Why will your mind go insane? It's just a story that everybody knows about love. You know, like every Bollywood movie is about Raj and Priya running away from their dad. That's like the story plot of every Bollywood movie that's ever existed. Every, Shakespeare story is roughly along those lines. Every drama in our youth is roughly, even every Disney film is along those lines as well. Bhai Gurdas Ji mentions stories. If Bhai Gurdas Ji was here today, they would be mentioning Disney princesses. They would be mentioning Romeo Juliet. They would be mentioning Raj and Priya, so I will do that. Why? Because Bhai Gurdas Ji explains, when somebody talks about Heer Ranjha, Romeo Juliet, I think about Guru Gobind Singh Ji. When somebody says, look, they died for love, Bhai Nandalal Ji says, I will die for Kalgitar Pacha. This is what these analogies are there for. You can look at a bumblebee and a lotus flower, and somebody else might just look at that and be like, it's just a bee. You can look at it from the lens of biology. You can look at it from the lens of nature. You can look at it from an artist's lens, and you could say, oh, I know how to paint that now. Or you can look at it through the eyes of a bhagat. Can you look at it through the eyes of a devotee? Because when Bhai Gurdas Ji looks at a bumblebee and a lotus flower, they see that and they imbue themselves in the intoxication of God. When they see a fly that's going around and sits on the lotus flower and it closes its petals, and they think, oh, this is how I want to be imbued in my Guru Shabad. Taise Gurbani avgahan karat chit, kabu Shabad, kabu maganha Shabad urjaye hain. These are all the things that are mentioned. And Bhai Gurdas Ji is saying, when you see a fish in a river, you're seeing God. When you see a tree waving in the wind, you see Paramatma. But can you develop that eye to the point whatever you see on Instagram, you're not looking at that and saying, oh, this is distracting me from God now. No, that is inspiring you to fall in love with God. You see a car driving down the road and somebody might just be like, oh man, that's more traffic. But somebody else will think and they'll just see Vaheguru through that. Somebody else will just see a spoon that's picking up, your morning cereal and delivering it to your mouth. And you might look at the spoon and say, wow, this is what a Gursikh is like. Doing service, spending all day, never complaining, and only serving to be able to spoon feed everybody in the world. You can have that Brahm Giaan there. And Bhai Gurdas Ji talks about it. This is why I mentioned Laila Majnu. This is what love with the Guru is like. And you might say, what do you mean? I ask you this question. When you are 17, 18 years old, and you're staying awake until 2 a.m. texting Jesse and Preeti. You are texting all night. You start at 10 p.m. And this is no offense to any Jesse or Preeti. This is just generic names. You are texting all night. Swere school jana hai. You text all night from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. You haven't moved a muscle. Your back is aching and your arms are even falling asleep. And you're laughing because you know you've been there. You text all night, it's 2 a.m. And then you finally get tired until the phone is falling on your face. Your eyes are red. Akhan laal ho gayi hain. Your eyes have become red. And then you finally go to sleep around 3 a.m. But then you complain why a Gursikh is sitting there listening to Kirtan until 3 a.m. Doesn't that sound insane? You complain and say, wait, how can these religious people sit there for 4 hours straight without moving their crossed legs? Don't their backs get sore? Doesn't your backs get sore when you're texting Preeti all night? Laila Majnu, Heer Ranjha, Romeo Juliet. They say the people think that this is what love is like. Eh, aashki nahi hai. This is not what true love is like. Aashki oh ah, jadon Guru de prem vich judo. When you truly fall in love with the Guru, and it's explained through analogy. This is what I'm trying to explain. Bhai Gurdas Ji explains this. At the beginning it might feel to you, wait, hold on, this is wild. This is not religious talk, it might seem to you. But you did relate with that. You knew that story. I don't need to explain here today what the story of Romeo and Juliet is. Just like Bhai Gurdas Ji, by mentioning it, they don't need to explain it. You already know it. And therefore, using that analogy, you can now understand it. That was what the job of Bhai Gurdas Ji was. There's a common saying today that you can take the most profound topics and you only know it if you can explain it to a 5th grader. If you can explain it to somebody that is 10 years old, 11 years old, that means then you know the topic. But if you are not able to explain, that means you don't really know the topic. So my question to you is, you think you know Sikhi, but are you able to explain it to yourself, your own 12-year-old? You know what? Try it out. Go and explain Sikhi, how much you've understood to your 12-year-old nephew, to your 12-year-old cousin. And this will help you understand, you know what? I thought I understood these topics of Sikhi, but I don't really think I do. You think you understand Amrita Vela? You think you understand the routine? You think you understand why Ratta is important? But then why don't you follow it? Why are you not running towards it without even thinking, without even caring about your health, caring about the schedule of the next day, caring about anything else? Why, just like a Gursikh that is sitting there, listening to Kirtan, starts reading Gurbani, and 5-6 hours go by, and they don't even realize how much time went by. That is what we call true love. And Bhai Gurdas Ji explains all of these examples. Anyway, Bhai Gurdas Ji then goes through all of these times explaining Sikhi to many people around the world at a scholarly level. And if you were in Kanchi, you had to be able to write in their Shindabandi. You had to be able to write through a kabit form. Because if you didn't write through a kabit form, then nobody would take you seriously. But for the common person, like let's say I'm sitting here today, and I try to speak to you, somebody that just came into Sangat, aaj pehli bari aaye ya. And they're thinking, you know what, I'm not here, I don't need you to quote 100 different things for me. I just need you to help me understand what Sikhi is. Would you agree? You're not here to hear, you know what, he didn't quote enough texts, therefore I didn't enjoy it today. That's not why you're here. But if I was in a group of scholars, then they would say, hold on, you're not citing all of these things. You didn't quote this, why didn't you give me 5 examples beyond this? They're looking for that. But jeda koi aam shardawan koi aa raha, somebody that's just coming with their own pains and their struggles, they're asking, you know what, I just don't understand this analogy of a bumblebee, explain it to me. They want to know the simplicity. Bhai Gurdas Ji was able to do that as well. And this is what differentiates their vara and kabit saviye. The form of a kabit is very, very long. Jaise deep deepat patang lot pot hot kabunka. You know, this is the whole form. And now I could explain that of a jaise deep deepat, or I could just say, just like a firefly is enticed with a fire and then circles around it until it dies in it one day. Isn't that easy to understand? Because the kabit savaiya are written in a form for those scholars to take you seriously. And Bhai Gurdas Ji is arguing at the scholar level, proving Sikhi there, and then also bringing it down to the level for the commoner in the form of their vara. To say, you know what, at the very beginning, somebody says, why should we recite Vaheguru? Apan Vaheguru vi kyun ucharan kariye? Where does this Vaheguru Gurmantra come from? And you might think of all these questions. And guess what? Bhai Gurdas Ji explains it. They explain where the Vava comes from. They explain where the Haha comes from. They explain where the Gaga comes from. They explain where the Rara comes from. All of these are mentioned inside of Bhai Gurdas Ji's Vara. In the first Var, in the 49th body. In a very easy way for you to understand here. Based on the perspective of the people asking the questions at the time. And when we start looking at Bhai Gurdas Ji and looking through our own studies and Gurbani in this way, a lot of these questions will start opening up. So now that I've painted that picture in front of you, of what Bhai Gurdas Ji diyan varan are. Even here Bhai Gurdas Ji diyan varan, the questions get asked about the 6 different philosophies. Okay, there's Vedanta, there's Nyayiks, there's the Buddhists. All of these sort of examples are being questioned. Bhai Gurdas Ji compares them to that. Bhai Gurdas Ji explains at the time the clash between Hinduism and Islam and the context of people at the time. ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਉਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੇ ਦਾਇਰੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ Bhai Gurdas Ji explain ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ. So when you look at Bhai Gurdas Ji there today, then you can infer this is what Bhai Gurdas Ji meant at the time and how you can relate it to today's day. It can make Sikhi understanding today a lot easier. As a Sikh, you have it very easy. You fully submit yourself and understand and read Gurbani. Along with those Sahayak, Bhai Gurdas Ji and Bhai Nandalal Ji, open up all these love stories and these channels for you to understand. Then you look at history. And through history, it is showcasing the transformation of what Guru's Kirpa looks like. Okay, first question is, why does history exist there? Why do we need to look at history? Pyaro, history is proof of the transformation that Sikhi works. You say Gurbani is the principle, but how has that played out? When you look at the life of Bhai Manjaji and you say, wow, this is what a love of a Gur Sikh looks like. When you look at the life of Bhai Gurdas Ji and what they have achieved, and the Shabad that we just read, you can say, wow, Guru Sahib Sache Pacha truly works through the Gur Sikhs and gets them to do the Katha that they want. Aap Katha karvaunde, aap bulaunde. And so those principles are then now put in front of you and played out in front of you through history. And through Rat, through those code of contacts, through history and Gurbani, it is put together for you to understand today, how do I put that practically in my life today? And that's where Rat comes out. What guidelines do I follow? It's very easy to hear, okay, what do Gursikhs do? Naam, Dan, Ishnan, Dra, you hear these, and it's very common that we hear Naam Japo, Vanshako, Kirt Karo, right? You've heard these concepts before, very, very simple. But if somebody asks you where are they from? Where are they written? It's not in Japji Sahib, it's not in Sukhmani Sahib, it's not in Asadiwar. Where do they come from? You know where they come from? You already know the name. They come from the very first Vaar and the very first body of Bhai Gurdas Ji. In that, Bhai Gurdas Ji talks about Naam, Dan and Ishnan. Namaskaar Gurdev ko Satnam jis mantra sunaya. They talk about bowing down to the Guru and how the true Guru has given you this mantra. In the very end of that body, they talk about Naam, Dan, Ishnan. Bhai Veer Singh then takes those concepts and simplifies it for you today. And they say Naam is Naam Japna. Dan is where you are donating to others, but you can only do Kirt, earn a righteous living, for then you're able to give to others as well. Dan is not only giving money, but Dan is also the form of doing bandagi, reciting God's name yourself, and then getting others to recite it. You're donating that. You're donating that understanding of spirituality to the other. So Dan, Naam, te Naam da Dan bhi hai, kalle Maya da Dan nahi hai. So aap japa avra Naam japave. You have Naam, Dan, and then Ishnan comes. Ishnan is the purity of not just the physical body. Yes, there was philosophies at the time that wouldn't even bathe for weeks. And you probably know some people that don't even bathe today still. So that's why Naam, Dan, Ishnan, but it's not only the physical cleanliness. Satgur hai Amrit Sar Sacha, Man na hai Mail Chukavaniya. It's the inner purity as well. So then those simplified becomes the very common Instagram statement, Naam Japo Vanshako Kirt Karo. But where do they come from? What are they extracted through? They're simplifying the entire concept. If you wanted to put the practicality using history, Gurbani, Bhai Gurdas Ji, and you say, you know what? I need a nutshell, 3 things that I can write down on my fridge, write down on my phone, something that I can post in front of my bedroom to see every morning. I need to understand the essence of Sikhi right away. So then Bhai Veer Singh explains to you and says, you know what? If you want it very, very simply, it's Naam Japna. You go recite God's name, earn an honest living, and make sure you donate to others. That simplifies a lot of things. That's the job of a Gursikh, to earn it, live it themselves, and then attempt to explain it to others. Bhai Gurdas Ji is doing that. So my question, where I'm getting to with all of this is, what have you understood? And what are you going to get other people to understand? That is upon you. If you have not understood it yourself, you don't know what to extract it from, you've not lived it, then how can you explain it to others? And there is a saying, you can only truly test yourself, do I know it myself? If you're able to explain it to others. If you're not able to explain the concept, then you don't really know it yourself. So pyareo, apne man nu samjhona. That's step 1. Getting your own mind to understand. Bhai Gurdas Ji's Jeevan shows us this. Khair, when we look at Bhai Gurdas Ji, there was a time when Guru Ramdas Ji Maharaj left this physical world. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj is given the Gurgaddi, but their older brother Baba Prithi Chand Ji didn't accept it at the time. They didn't accept it at the time. So Baba Prithi Chand Ji took over Amritsar area, and most of the Sangat was still going to them. They controlled the Maya, the money side of things. And at the time, Bhai Gurdas Ji was in Agra towards Kanchi. On their way back, they go to Goindwal Sahib. They heard a Shabad of Guru Arjan Dev Ji all the way back, where a Gursikh had traveled there and explained to them the Shabad. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj ne Shabad ucharya, Gur ka Bachan Basai ji Naale, Jal nahi doobe, Taskar nahi leve, Pahe na sake jale. That if you have the true word of the Guru inside of your heart, then nothing can drown you. The Guru is always with you. Nothing can burn you. When they got to Goindwal Sahib, they had not met Guru Arjan Dev Ji yet. Bhai Gurdas Ji is arriving. There is a river overflowing. The Sangat is not able to cross because there is the fear of them getting swept away. So Bhai Gurdas Ji arrives, te unhanu wo shabad yaad aa gaya. गुर का बचन बसै जी नाले, जल नहीं डूबे तस्कर नहीं लेवै, पाए न साकै जाले. They do ardas to Maharaj and they say, ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹੀ ਬਚਨ ਕਮਾ ਲਈਏ, if we just fulfill and live through this one teaching, this bachan of Bhai Gurdas Ji, this bachan of Guru Arjan Dev Ji, then ਕੀ ਪਤਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਡੁੱਬਦੇ. I don't believe Guru Sahib is saying implement this one seed into your heart, you will not drown. The river is overflowing. I don't think we will drown. They bring the Sangat together and they cross over that river. Pyaro, the Sangat crosses over. The Sangat does not get swept away. Their faith in the Guru Shabad grows even more as they're singing the Shabad. They arrive all the way to Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj. Ote pahunchde ya, but by the time Bhai Gurdas Ji arrives to Gondwal Sahib, the first thing that they see is a group of kids playing together. Bacche ikatthe khedde ya. And these kids, like I said, Bhai Gurdas Ji, they can see Brahm Giaan in anything. They're writing about it. They see a bumblebee, they see a lotus flower, they see a fish, they see a deer, they see a rain bird and a rain cloud, a moon and a sun. They see a child. They see the innocence of an old person, the innocence of a child. They see a cloth being dyed the color red. All these examples that are just in front of them. Like you might see a tire spinning, somebody walking into the Gurdwara, somebody pouring water, a tree being cut down. All of these examples you see Bhai Gurdas Ji, they see those, and you know what the analogy that they give? They see the tree is like a Gursikh, and you're like, how is a tree like a Gursikh? You weren't able to see it, they were able to see it. Aap sanda dukh jag varsaya. Tarti utthe rukh sir talwaya. The tree is upside down, and it has so much humility that when somebody tries to go and cut the tree down, it doesn't fight back. It gives it wood and say, here you go, I'll help you out. I will take the pain, but I will help you out. They say when somebody gets tired, they lean upon that tree, it gives them shade. When someone gets hungry and they're trying to force the tree, they're trying to cut down the tree, it gives them fruit. They say this is what a Gursikh is like. Very rare are they like this. Do you have the ability to be able to see anything and see the teachings of Sikhi through that? That is the state that you want to get to as a Gursikh. And not let to say Sikhi is only in the morning, only on Sundays, only on Tuesday evenings. No. Sikhi is the spiritual wisdom in which you now live your life. And so now you are reciting and living Gurbani. Therefore the routines will naturally come afterwards. Once the love is there, you don't have to explain to somebody. You don't have to explain to somebody why it's important to get up at Amrita Vela and read the Gurbani. And I know we have this big culture nowadays, it's like discipline, mind over matter, matcha culture, alpha men. We have this culture. Explain to Juliet why she needed to run away at 2 a.m. to go meet Romeo. Was she like, you know what, matcha culture, Like I need to wake up and this is my discipline or else I'm not a Gursikh. That's not the reason why she's waking up at 2 a.m. She's infatuated, she's lost in her love. That's why Bhai Gurdas Ji uses that example to say, do you really love the Guru where you're willing to get up and run away? We're sitting at home. The Sangat is happening at the Gurdwara and we sit at home, we're saying, I'm too good to go to the Gurdwara. I don't love my Guru, I don't love the Sangat enough where I can actually make the 15-minute drive to attend the Sangat, and physically, I'd rather just watch the live online. And you know that is, you watch the live for about 10 minutes, then you switch over to like funny cat videos. This is the reality. Do you really love the Guru? Was Julia looking for excuses? Was Laila Majnu looking for excuses? Was Taru Popat, were they looking for excuses? No. This is all about love. And what does Bhai Gurdas Ji see? They arrive at Gondwal Sahib. As soon as they arrive, they see a group of kids playing. Bacche khedde ya. Bacche khedde na, unhone aapse vich ek gall ਕੀਤੀ. Ek bachcha kehda na, oh, the ball went on the other side. And one gets a little bit sad. One child says to the other child, oh, my friend, don't get sad. Everything is within God's hukum. Bhai Gurdas Ji is mind blown. One little child is saying to another child while they're playing with a ball, the ball gets lost. One child says it's all within God's will. And Bhai Gurdas Ji, they get mind. Even these kids know how to accept God's will. How do we not know? Sanu koi samjh nahi hai. De Brahm Gyan nahi hai. Who am I to consider myself such a scholar? Bhai Gurdas Ji matha tekde hai. Bhai Gurdas Ji bows down to those kids and says, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾਣਾ ਵਰਤਦਾ ਆ. My question to you, next time you see kids playing, are you looking at them and saying, this is what God is like? Next time you see a car driving down the road, what do you see through that? Next time you see relatives gathering, Bhai Gurdas Ji explains examples of Gurbani. Through in Gurbani, Guru Arjan Dev Ji explains it as well, of a marriage, of a family getting together. When somebody passes away, all these things that are happening around you, there is spiritual wisdom through it. Are you able to see it? Like Bhai Gurdas Ji. Bhai Gurdas Ji is now arriving to Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, and they have this one thought in their mind. They say, Guru Sahib Ji, Prithi Chand is saying that he is the Guru. But Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, I was told, oh Gurgaddiya, I know my Guru Ramdas Ji, my Guru Amardas Ji, they were Antarjami. They were the inner knower of all hearts. Maharaj, if you know what's in my heart, then I will know that you are the true Guru. Bhai Gurdas Ji arrives. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੈਸੇ ਜਾਣ ਬੁੱਝ ਕੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹ ਸੋਚਿਆ, ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਸੰਕਲਪ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ. The thought just randomly arises. They arrive to Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, and Guru Arjan Dev Ji, as soon as they enter, Bhai Gurdas Ji does, Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, Bhai Gurdas Ji, why are you bowing down to kids? That's the first thing that they say. Bhai Gurdas Ji, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੱਥਾ ਟੇਕ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਆ? And Bhai Gurdas Ji folds their hand and says, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਰ ਦਾ ਭਾਣਾ ਵਰਤ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ. They were living in God's will. I bow down to the will of God. That this is what truly living in God's will looks like. And Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, Bhai Gurdas Ji, just like you made the entire Sangat cross over the river without drowning, by holding on to the Guru's word, now your word will help carry the rest of the Sangat across the river as well. You will help the Sangat cross over the river of the world, the ocean of the world. Thodi Bani vi tarugi. Your words will help the Sangat cross over as well. And these are the Vaars, the Bachan, the blessings given to Bhai Gurdas Ji. Time moves on forward. Bhai Gurdas Ji is there, and they are writing their Kabitswai all the way in Kanchi. They continue to write it. There comes a time when Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj is asked by the Sangat, can you compile Gurbani into one text? Because right now there's different pothiyan. There's different texts. And Prithi Chand Ji and their son Meherban, all of them have begun writing Gurbani. And Gurbani which they've started writing Nanak as well. Nanak vi likhna shuru kar gaye. So we get confused that when we hear something from one village to the other, and we hear a Shabad, and they're using Nanak in the same Shabad, and we're like, is this Guru Arjan Dev Ji's Bani or is this Prithi Chand Ji's Bani? We don't know. So can you compile Gurbani in one place so we know a Gurbani, this is Guru da Shabad. Guru Arjan Dev Ji gives this respect to Bhai Gurdas Ji to be the scribe of Gurbani. It takes 1 full year. Pura ek saal lagda ya. Bhai Gurdas Ji is writing the words that Guru Arjan Dev Ji is reciting for 4 to 5 hours every morning. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Bani uchar rahe hai, and Bhai Gurdas Ji likh rahe hai. They're writing these words down. Baba Buddha Ji is helping them. Outside, Bhai Banno Ji is also listening, and they're also writing srups as well. They're copying the text of Bhai Gurdas Ji. So when we go further into these details, we look at how blessed Bhai Gurdas Ji must have been for Guru Amardas Ji Maharaj to say, you go into a far off land, whatever you say is the word of the Guru. For them to be able to speak and argue on behalf of the Guru, for them to be able to be a scribe of the Guru. And Pyaro, the time comes when even Akbar, the king, heard that such a compilation of Guru Granth Sahib Ji is being written. He asked for it. He said, bring it to my court. I want to see. I'm hearing rumors that this is a bad text. I want to hear about it. And Pyareo, jadon Guru Granth Sahib da Sroop Akbar de ko leke gaye na, who was given the responsibility to go and speak on behalf and represent Guru Granth Sahib Ji? It can't be just somebody that has never read the text before. Because somebody like me or you might say, well, I don't know if this is written in Gurbani. Does it say this? I don't know where it's written this. Oh, I have to search it on Gurbani. We will have to search for those things. I will go have to ask somebody. going and representing it in the emperor's court. When any question can be asked, Bhai Gurdas Ji has to know that Bani in and out. They have to know that Bani in and out. Gursikhs of the past, we're not going hundreds and years back. We're going, if you go back 10 years, 15 years, it was very common for Gursikhs to have all of Guru Granth Sahib Ji and all of Dasam Granth memorized by heart. And most of Bhai Gurdas Ji's Bani memorized by heart. It was very common. It wasn't like a speciality factor. Because you know how we scroll through Instagram? They would sit there because they loved it so much, they would just scroll, or I should say, ang paltade sige, as they read Gurbani. They would sit down, start one Shabad, they knew what the next Shabad would start with. It was infused in the rhythm of their tongue. Are we reading it and reciting it in the same way with the same level of love? Bhai Gurdas Ji is the one that's allowed to go and represent it. Ote Hukumnama leya gaya. The first Hukumnama, the second Hukumnama, and the third Hukumnama all mentioned Allah. The first one came and talked about that the Creator Allah, Parmeshwar ne sari dharti banai hai. The one Creator, Kartar, Allah created this entire universe. It is the wording of those Hukumname were in Farsi and Arabi. You know how last time we spoke about the Guru's Hukum, Guru Sahib speaks directly through the Shabad as well. Pyare Otte, even in that court, Guru Granth Sahib Ji Swaroop is speaking directly there alive. Shabad padya gaya. The second Shabad is read. The second Shabad is saying that stop worrying about the Tande of the world. Recognize that only the true Creator is true. You're lost in all of this ego. And the third Hukamnama, koi bola Ram Ram, koi Khudai, koi seva Gusaiya, koi alai. Even Akbar said, this Granth is beyond me. This Granth is truly the work of Akal Purkh. E Allah di sift salaya. And he, with respect, he even gave 51 rupees. At the time it was a lot. 51 rupees and bowed down matha tekya to Guru Granth Sahib Ji at the time. Bhai Gurdas Ji was the one to bring the Swaroop back. Blessed is that writer. Blessed is that seva which Guru Sahib works through them and gets the seva done themselves. So pyare aao, let's sing a Shabad, let's focus our consciousness on what that blessed seva looks like, which only somebody like the great Bhai Gurdas Ji is being blessed with. We'll talk about the other sevas as well, but the ability to write. Anything that touches, even the act of writing in itself becomes bandagi. Are you able to look at your own writings? The seva that you do. Do you understand it enough to write it, to explain it, to pass it on forward? Can somebody look at your life? And we're not talking about you creating a legacy or anything. That's never a goal of a Sikh. Bhai Gurdas Ji never asked for that. It was given to them. But what have they passed on? And how have they made it so that it makes the next generation of Sikhs or the wider Sangat, makes it easier for them to connect to Sikhi? That is the seva. And somebody does that seva. I was given this Sikhya, this teaching when I was a young kid. They say somebody that inspires somebody else to fall in love with the Guru, that is the direct khushi of Guru Sahib Ji, not indirect. There are indirect levels of love. But Sadhu and Bachan, see, if you inspire somebody else to fall in love with the Guru, there is a direct connection of love. It's like a direct deposit of bakshish coming into your account from Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. So my question is, how are we doing that towards others? That is the task that we have. So blessed are those writers like Bhai Gurdas Ji. Let's remember them through this Shabad. So aao pyareo, koi vi rasna vanji na rahe. Let's sing along for a couple of minutes. Close your eyes and envision Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj Sache Pacha reciting this Bani. Bhai Gurdas Ji writing it down. You visualizing this. Imagine what that feeling would be like to hear the words uttered by Guru Arjan Dev Ji themselves. Not only writing it on the pen and the ink, but writing it in your heart.
Gur ka bachan basai ji naale. Gur ka bachan basai ji naale. Gur ka bachan basai ji naale. Gur ka bachan बसै जी नाले। जल नहीं डूबे तस कर नहीं लेवे, जल नहीं डूबे तस कर नहीं लेवे। पाहे न साके जाले, पाहे न साके जाले, पाहे न साके जाले, पाहे न साके जाले। गुर का बचन बसै जी नाले, गुर का बचन बसै जी नाले। सिमरो सिमर सिमर सुख पावो, सास सास समाले।
सिमरो सिमर सिमर सुख पावो, सास सास संभाले।
सिमरो सिमर सिमर सुख पावो, सास सास समाले।
सिमरो सिमर सिमर सुख पावो, सास सास संभाले।
एह लोक परलोक संग सहाई, जत कत मोहे रखवाले।
लोक परलोक संग सहाई,
जत कत मोहे रखवाले। जल नहीं डूबे तस कर नहीं लेवे, जल नहीं डूबे तस कर नहीं लेवे। पाहे न साके जाले, पाहे न साके जाले, पाहे न साके जाले, पाहे न साके जाले। गुर का बचन बसै जी नाले, गुर का बचन बसै जी नाले। निर्तन को तन अंधले कोटिक, मात दूध जैसे वाले।
निर्तन को तन अंधले को, मात दूध जैसे बाले।
सागर में बोहित पायो हर नानक, करी कृपा कृपाले।
सागर में बोहित पायो हर नानक,
करी कृपा कृपाले, करी कृपा कृपाले, करी कृपा कृपाले। गुर का कर नहीं लेवे, जल नहीं डूबे, तस्कर नहीं लेवे, पाहे न साके जाले, पाहे न साके जाले, पाहे न साके जाले, पाहे न साके जाले, गुर का बचन बसै जी नाले, गुर का बचन बसै जी नाले, गुर का बचन बसै जी
That word that resides deep within our heart. Blessed are those hands that are able to write such words. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਹਿਰਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਸੇ ਆ। ਧੰਨ ਸੋ ਕਾਗਦ ਕਲਮ ਧੰਨ, ਧੰਨ ਪਾਂਡਾ ਧੰਨ ਮਸ, ਧੰਨ ਲਿਖਾਰੀ ਨਾਨਕਾ, ਜਿਨ ਨਾਮ ਲਿਖਾਇਆ ਸੱਚ। Blessed is that pen, the ink that writes the name of God. One day when Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji's Bani is being written, because this process took about a year, Bhai Gurdas Ji had this thought in their mind that we are including the Bani of Bhagat Kabir Ji, Bhagat Farid Ji, Bhagat Namdev Ji, and I write so many texts as well. I've written so many kabits, I've written so many different things. What if I present and bring forward and I humbly offer some of my writings, and wouldn't it be amazing if Guru Sahib accepted some of my writings to include in Guru Granth Sahib Ji? So they had this thought. That night they went into their room and they went to sleep. In their dream, they had a dream where they were in an ocean and they were swimming in an ocean, and they were about to drown in their dream. They started reciting some of their writings, but they were not able to stay afloat. They started drowning a little bit. They had to put a lot of effort in. But then they sang the Guru's words. They sang the words of Guru Arjan Dev Ji, the words of Guru Ram Das Ji, the words of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And jal nahi doobe, taskar nahi leve, pahe na sake jale. They weren't drowning, they were being lifted afloat. When they woke up from that dream, they realized, how could I think my words can live or the equivalent to the Guru's? Nahi ho sakte. Their own mind humbled them. Guru Sahib humbled them in their dream. That morning, they had their writings in their hands. They came to Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj every morning, where they would sit at Ramsar Sahib, where they would write and scribe Gurbani. They came a little bit earlier, and when they entered where Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj was sitting, what did they see? They saw the spirits of Bhagat Namdev Ji, Bhagat Farid Ji, Bhagat Tanna Ji, all of these saints, the Bhagats whose Bani are included inside of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and they were all bowing down to Guru Arjan Dev Ji. And they were offering their writings, and Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj was blessing them. Unhone de bakshish kar rahe sige. When Bhai Gurdas Ji entered and saw this, Bhai Gurdas Ji immediately humbled themselves and said, who do I think that my writings, this is not merely an intellectual exercise. And if you think Gurbani was just a compilation of good philosophies, nahi pyare, it's not. This is something that goes much more beyond that. It's not a compilation of cool philosophies. It's not a compilation of things that, maybe they interact and they're similar. You know what, might as well include it. Let's lengthen this Granth as much as we can. No, that wasn't the point. Bhai Gurdas Ji arrived, every word, every letter, every syari, kalli kalli lag jehdi sanu dekhdi hai na, the letters that we see with our eye, they are beyond. Kinka ek jis ji basave, jehda gur ka bachan basai ji naale. Even one akhar of yours, if of that is embedded in your heart, you will be lifted afloat. Bhai Gurdas Ji experienced this in their dream. They arrive in front of Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, and Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj now They know what's in the heart of their sevak. Sevak de dil di jaande. They say, Bhai Gurdas Ji, why don't you offer? Because ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਤਕਾਰ ਮਾਮਾ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ. Because that's what they were. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਾਮਾ ਜੀ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਭਾਈ ਜੀ, ਮਾਮਾ ਜੀ, why don't you offer me some of your writings? ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਲਿਖਤ ਵੀ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾ ਦਈਏ. Bhai Gurdas Ji already knew, Maharaj, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾਣੀ, you know what I've been going through in the last night, through all morning. And Maharaj, Guru Arjan Dev Ji smiled and said, Bhai, why don't you offer some of your writing? Why don't we include some of it? And they say, Nay Maharaj, my writing is not worthy. I cannot offer it. It cannot be included inside of this granth. And Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj and say, Bhai Ji, ye thodi nimarta hai. This is your humility. Your Bani, yes, if this is what you say, ye thodi nimarta, your humility will stand. And people will know this as your humility. But I will give you a command. You shall write Vara now. I want you to write some writings. This is wrten in Gurbalas Patsai Shemi. Write these Vara. Bhai Gurdas Ji was given a command to write these 40 Vara. And go and explain. They became known as Giaan Ratta. The diamonds, those rubies, those emeralds, the treasures of spiritual wisdom. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, your words will help unlock the spiritual meanings and help open up and help the Sangat understand what is behind Gurbani. And therefore it became known as Bhai Gurdas Ji, the key to unlocking Gurbani. And in Punjabi we say Gurbani di kunji. If you're not able to understand something, kai vari Maharaj writes in riddles, it's true. Even the word Mudavani can be translated as not just only as a stamp but also a riddle. Maharaj kai vari likhde hai, jo Gurmukh bujya koi. It's like, is there a Gurmukh that can understand and unlock the mystery behind the Shabad? Sometimes Guru Sahib is writing it directly. This is a mystery I'm writing for you. Who can unlock this Bani? Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, Bhai Gurdas Ji is able to unlock this Bani to help you understand it. And you know what? There was this conversation that was taking place between myself and a few Gursikhs. You know, with the rise of AI and artificial intelligence. Say, wouldn't it be amazing if we take all the teachings, the writings, and every Katha that exists on YouTube of every Mahampurkh and Sadhu and all of the olden texts and able to translate them into whatever language, so you can go into ChatGPT and just ask whatever your question and say what Gurbani writes is, read all of the olden texts and give me an answer based on this. And maybe we might be able to get to that point. And they'll say, oh, that's going to replace Sikhi, won't it? Yeah, that's going to replace Sangat, won't it? But what will you do when ChatGPT says the answer to your problems is to go do sadhu on the Sangat? You can't do that online now, can you? In many Shabads you will read, Bhai Gurdas Ji will say, this is the Sangat, the Mehma, the praise and the greatness of Sangat. This is how somebody transforms in Sangat. You will get the intellectual answers, the foundation and the rubrics to say, this is how can be better explained. But the practical application of how you go and do that seva, how you lose your ego, is not done through mere intellectualism. It's done through the act. And this is what I do, why I make this request. Bhai Gurdas Ji, being the greatest scholar, was also the one cleaning the dishes. Bhai Gurdas Ji, being the greatest scholar, the scribe of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj was also just like Guru Ramdas Ji cleaning the shoes of the Sangat. So was Bhai Gurdas Ji. Are we too great to do a certain seva? If we look into the levels of Bhai Gurdas Ji, you can see that no, we can't be that great. Bhai Gurdas Ji says, Maharaj, my writings are not great. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, your writings will be known as the key to unlocking Gurbani. Go and write these Vara, help Sangat understand it. Their Vara, that became known as this. This is why I gave all these examples. Many names in history are mentioned that the 11th Var, and right now, like I said, you might not understand what I mean by this. It might not mean anything to you. The 11th Var of Bhai Gurdas Ji is talking about the names of Gursikhs of Guru Sahib's times. Bhai Mani Singh Ji goes and does a further explanation of that. and then goes into this. There are Vara where Bhai Gurdas Ji is talking about the example of a tree, the examples of a fish. They are going through all of these sort of things. But when you begin to look at and study the Vara yourself, there are a total of 40 Vara. All the Vara don't have an equal amount of Paudiyan. The first Var, for example, has 49 Paudiyan. The second one has a different amount. The third amount is different. If you add up all the Paudiyan, meaning these Shabads that you're seeing, there are 913 Paudiyan. That's a large, ek koi choti gal nahi hai. 913 Paudiyan or Shabads, you can say, that Bhai Gurdas Ji wrote in their Vara, in their 40 Vara. Then there are Bhai Gurdas Ji's Kabit Savaiye, which are separate. And let's look at one of Bhai Gurdas Ji's Kabit Savaiye, where they give the example. Look, in this, there's Ratta, that's example. How do you practically apply these things? Jaise Sikh ko palaye pani, or Sikh ko palaye pani, what is the significance and the greatness of bringing a Gursikh into your house? If we can pull that up on the screen as well to the Sevadar. Ki Sikh ko palaye pani, that when a Gursikh enters your house, what is the greatness of doing that? It is like somebody going and doing a Smed Jug, going and doing great pilgrimages, going and doing giving great ritual sacrifices, where they have to walk how many miles, they have to cut off the head of a horse, and then the queen has to sleep with, all these things that kings used to do to be able to get victory in battles. They're saying, you bring a Gursikh into your house, this is the greatness of it. You attain all this. If you bring a Gursikh into your house and you give them the ability to take a bath, give them a place to sleep. Like Bhai Jaskirat Ji is taking the head of Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj Ji from Delhi all the way back to Anandpur Sahib. And he goes and knocks on a door at night, and that family gives him a place to stay at night. What is the blessing of that? Kende jinne tusi Ganga tak chirag chal jao, that level of purity. Then they say, what about when you go and teach a Gursikh a Shabad? If you know how to do Kirtan on a Shabad, why don't you go teach somebody? You say, well, what's in it for me? This is what's in it for you. You can donate thousands of golden palaces and give them to charity. We're not talking about your daswand. You know how that we talk about Naam, I gave my 10%, I'm good to go. Nahi pyare, what truly is Sikhi? Practical application. Not only history Bhai Gurdas Ji talks about, not only explanation, but Rat, how to live your life and apply, and how you can practically earn these things. How many times are we asking Gursikhs, can you come into my house so I can do your seva? Guru di seva vakri, Guru de Sikh di seva vakri. Bring them into your house, you get all of these blessings. And then what is the blessing? When you bring a Gursikh into your house, you massage their feet to the point where they fall asleep. Kinna ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਦਾ ਫਲ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਆ जैसे 20 बार darshan साध किया काहू कह. This is how much fal you get, the sangat, the darshan of great sadhus 20 times or more. There's a saying that if you get a sadhu's darshan once in your life, you're liberated. If you meet a true saint in your life once, you're liberated. Bringing a Guru Sikh into your house and massaging their feet until they fall asleep is equivalent to seeing a sadhu 20 times. Kende inna falya. Bhai Gurdas Ji is explaining all of these things in their Kabit Savaiye as well. They're a little bit, as you can notice, the lines are a little bit longer. Kabit Savaiye are written in a form where scholars are able to dissect them. The wording is more complicated. In Bhai Gurdas Ji's Vara, it's simple Punjabi that's being used. In Bhai Gurdas Ji's Kabit Savaiye, it's mainly older Sanskrit or Braj Prasha that's being used. Because that it's at a different level. So you can speak at the scholarly level, or you can bring it down to a very simple level. This is why I made it very easy for us to understand, to say, if you have questions and you want to look deeper into it, maybe one day we get the blessing to be able to do Katha of the 913 Paudiyan of Bhai Gurdas Ji Vara. That's not a small feat. If we did one Paudi a day, it'll take almost 3 years to do Bhai Gurdas Ji's Vara. Let alone their Kabit Savaiye. There's, if I remember correctly, 665 Kabit Savaiye. 665. That's even a larger text based on the length of the lines, larger than the Bhai Gurdas Ji Vara. These are not small texts. So my question is, how much do we really know about the texts that are available to us? I know I wanted to introduce this to you guys today. Bhai Gurdas Ji was that person that went to Gwalior Kila with Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj. They were the person, only one of two people that were allowed to build Akal Takht Sahib. We see Akal Takht Sahib as our political, temporal, supreme authority. And the only two people that were allowed to lay the bricks were Bhai Gurdas Ji and Baba Buddha Ji. Baba Buddha Ji was appointed the first Granthi Singh of Harmandir Sahib, and who was appointed the first Akal Takht Jathedar of Akal Takht Sahib, at the time known as Akal Bunga. It was Bhai Gurdas Ji. Bhai Gurdas Ji was the first Akal Takht Jathedar. They fulfilled all of that seva. Guru Har Gobind Sahib Sache Pacha bestowed their blessings upon them. When Maharaj went to Gwalior Kila, it was Bhai Gurdas Ji that went there, delivered the message and brought that what the Sangat of Amritsar Sahib was feeling. Then the time came when Bhai Gurdas Ji knew that it's my time to go. They sent a message for Guru Har Gobind Sahib Maharaj, and Guru Har Gobind Sahib Maharaj traveled and came to their teacher themselves, because Bhai Gurdas Ji and Baba Buddha Ji were the teachers of the Sheme Pacha. They taught them, like it's hard to direct it or connect it directly, because who can teach the Guru? Guru is already all-knowing. But on a practical sense, that seva was given to Baba Buddha Ji and Bhai Gurdas Ji to teach them how to horse ride, how to read and write, how to read different languages, all how to read different texts and different, encyclopedias and deep texts at the time, religious texts. All of these things were bestowed, and the seva was done by Bhai Gurdas Ji. And the word was said that if Bhai Gurdas Ji says something, Panjve Pacha and Sheme Pacha said it, consider it my own word. What is it like to be a Gursikh, living through from the time of Tije Pacha to Sheme Pacha, and it's being known that my word is the Guru's word? At the time when Panjve Pacha was not in Amritsar Sahib, Prithi Chand was. Most of the Sangat was going towards Prithi Chand. Bhai Gurdas Ji, Baba Buddha Ji were the ones that stood on the road outside and told the Sangat, don't go towards Amritsar Sahib, go this way, because the true Guru is in Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, not Prithi Chand. They stood on the roads and they redirected the Sangat to say, don't go this way, go the other way. Prithi Chand was there for the money. The money was getting big because Sangat was coming. Who's the fifth Guru? Who's the next Guru? Is it Prithi Chand? Let's go bow down to him. Sangat didn't know any better. But when they saw Bhai Gurdas Ji, the great Baba Buddha Ji, standing on the road, they say, Baba Ji, which way should we go? Imagine somebody came to you and asked and said, your word is like the Guru's word for us. Wherever the Guru is, asi mannange. And Bhai Gurdas Ji would say, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, main parkh ke dekh liya. I've seen it, I've tried it, I've recited their name, I know it works. Everybody over there. And Baba Prithi Chand Ji's money, their khajana, their budget started falling. They realized there's nothing in it for us. They left Amritsar Sahib, and Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, Sache Pacha, they arrived in Amritsar, Harmandir Sahib. But that was all due to the peridari done by Bhai Gurdas Ji and Baba Buddha Ji. The custodians, the teachers, the scholars, the debaters, the scribes, the leaders, the sevadars. Living up to the name of Gurdas is not easy. Your entire life is given like a servant. You might think today like, wait, Gurdas, I have a relative named Gurdas. We probably all do. There are many singers named Gurdas as well. They've written many songs as well, but they've done nothing good for the Panth. They've written many things as well, but oh Guru De Das nahi bade. But Bhai Gurdas Ji, this is a name that Punjab should know. This is a name that we should all remember, because we are still learning from the things and taking on these things. And Guru Arjan Dev Ji's Bachan was, when they called Guru Har Gobind Sahib Maharaj and they said, Maharaj, it is my time to go now. Allow me to leave in your lap. Thodi godi vich main jama. Guru Sheme Pacha, Guru Har Gobind Maharaj says, Bhai Gurdas Ji, what do you wish for in your end? And Bhai Gurdas Ji said, I do not wish for anything. I do not want a building built in my name. I do not want people to remember me. I do not wish for these things. And Sheme Pacha Ji said that Bhai Gurdas Ji, you may not want a building built in your name or any of these things, but just know that wherever the Guru's name is mentioned and wherever the Sikhs remember the Guru and Guru Granth Sahib Ji, your name will be remembered for eternity alongside it. That's why you cannot mention Guru Granth Sahib Ji without knowing who the scribe was of Bhai Gurdas Ji. This is the best blessing bestowed to us. Let's look into the lives of what these great saints, Vidwans were like and how we can take into it. That's why I said it already. As somebody who's there trying to do this seva, trying to explain the Katha, trying to get people to understand it, and certainly sometimes it's a pain. You see kids in our generation not understanding, lost in a weird world. Am I American? Am I Indian? What am I? They're going through identity crisis. They have no sense of community. Very rare is it that Gurdwara Sahib support us in environments like this and they allow us to do programs like this. They don't have accessibility due to language barriers. You probably already know I did most of this katha in English, but my Instagram DM is filled with people saying Punjabi bole agar. But I know what I have to go through to be able to explain this to help you reach out. I'm not saying I'm not opposed to Punjabi. Punjabi bolani bahut zaruri hai. It opens gateways. Je tusi Punjabi nahi sikhonge, if you don't understand and read Gurbani, understand Punjabi, a lot of doorways to culture and tradition and understanding and even texts are closed. Oh darwaje band ho jande thode vaste. But how am I supposed to get you to fall in love with the Guru if my entire speech is about that? You know this. And so I have to take that risk to speak in English, to make it relatable to you. But you know what the pain is? That sometimes I still am not able to get through. You know what? I have limitations. So who's going to carry forward where my limits end? It's you. I've shared my burden with you now. And if I stop speaking after today, I'm good to go. Now it's your job to take that burden and take it forward. How are you going to make Sikhi relatable like Bhai Gurdas Ji that did? That's why I said Bhai Gurdas Ji was the original basics of Sikhi. Unhone shuruaat which somebody had a question, how was the world created? Why was this? Who is Guru Nanak? The first basics of Sikhi video was, who is Guru Nanak? Bhai Gurdas Ji answered that question in their Bhai Gurdas Ji Diyanwara. We are only repeating what they've already said. There's nothing new coming from myself. Bhai Jaskirat Singh didn't make anything new. Any of the other sevadas that do Parcharik, they didn't make anything new. It's the same history, the same Gurbani, the same Itihas, the same Vara that we translate and we try to make it relatable. The question is, are you willing to take out time? And you are, that's why you're here today. But are you able to now go the next step? Not only take out the time and study it yourself, but then go and explain it to others as well. That is you fulfilling the seva of Bhai Gurdas Ji. So let's sing the Shabad. Let's just 913 paudhiyan hai. There's 913 paudhiyan, but let's just read the first one. Let's just sing the first one. Pehli padhiye and look through it. And the first line Bhai Gurdas Ji explains, if you want to know the essence of Sikhi, what is the first line of all of these paudhiyan? Namaskaar Gurdev ko Sat Naam jis mantra sunaya. Is I bow down to the Guru that gave me this mantra, that gave me and bestowed this, because in this you don't need to explain Kaljug. All these things come outside of it. Then what do you mean in this era? Why is the Guru great? What is Kaljug? What is the greatness of the mantra? You know, oh Kaljug, what are the jugs? How is the world created then? What is the lineage of the Gurus? What are the Gurseks like? Give me more examples of how you can love and connect with this. All of these questions might come out of it. Well, if I see this in the world, why is my questions not answered? And I make this request, just because you have not received the answers does not mean the answer does not exist. Just because you haven't received the answer, maybe your parents have limited understanding. Maybe the people you have asked have limited understanding. I have limited understanding. Maybe I'm not able to explain everything properly. Maybe you have an inability to understand the framework and how the question is being opposed to you. So therefore you don't know how to dissect and be able to relate it to the true question that you actually have. There's a lot to dissect through your own mind and the way Sache Pache is writing this Bani. But you can, once you start taking the effort and start diving through it with the intention of love. The intention isn't to go through intellectualism and dive deeper into it and dissect it. No, it's to go deeper into it to be able to grow your love for Guru Sahib Ji. And if you go with that bhavna, all of these things come together to the point where all questions are diminished. You want to get to a point where all your questions are answered, and those questions will be there. But you will realize that some questions don't need answering because that question is answered with a different spiritual understanding you've now come to. On this day, we also remember Jaswant Singh Khalra Jinane. They carried on a legacy. They saw Shaheed Singhs. They knew Guru Arjan Dev Ji. They saw their friends being killed in Punjab. They came to Toronto Dixie Gurdwara Sahib, gave a speech, went back, and they went missing there. Those are the days that we remember today on September 6th. You know what's going on in Punjab with all of the floods happening. What are you doing about it? Aapa ki kar sakde hain? You find one problem. Look, there's a million problems. Bhai Gurdas Ji, look, if you look at the lineage of all of the Jathedars from Bhai Gurdas Ji's time, then Meene took over, then Bhai Mani Singh Ji, Baba Darbara Singh Ji, and many others. There's lifetimes you could be in an era of a Jathedar. And now somebody like me, I look for guidance and reference points, yet we're not able to get that same sort of connection. So how do we feel connected to those causes? If I'm struggling, I know many people that are coming into Sikhi in their first years of learning about Sikhi, of course they're going to feel lost. Because we're born into this kind of stuff. So you almost have to start thinking of things outside of your era. Beyond just the 50 years that you're going to be alive and aware within this world. Look at the 100 years before that, the 100 years that will come after that. A lot of your questions will get answered by understanding your placement within the timeline. And then you will go to a place of spirituality where it goes beyond time. So there's political answers, questions, physical questions and answers, spiritual questions and answers as well. But if Bhai Gurdas Ji began all of these answers, it all begins from these first few lines.
Namaskar Gurdev ko Namaskar 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 Gurdev ko Namaskar 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 Gurdev ko Namaskar Namaskar Satnam jis mantra sunaya Satnam jis mantra sunaya Satnam jis mantra sunaya Namaskar Gurdev ko Namaskar 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 Gurdev ko Namaskar ਭਵ ਜਲ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਮੁਕਤ ਪਦਾਰਥ ਮਾਹੀ ਸਮਾਇਆ ਜਨਮ ਮਰਨ ਪਉ ਕੱਟਿਆ ਸੰਸਾਰੋਗ ਵਿਜੋਗ ਮਿਟਾਇਆ
ਜਲ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਕੱਢਿਆ ਸੰਸਾਰੋਗ ਵਿਜੋਗ ਮਿਟਾਇਆ
ਜਨਮ ਮਰਨ ਪਉ ਕੱਟਿਆ ਸੰਸਾਰੋਗ ਵਿਜੋਗ ਮਿਟਾਇਆ ਜਨਮ ਮਰਨ ਪਉ ਕੱਟਿਆ ਸੰਸਾਰੋਗ ਵਿਜੋਗ ਮਿਟਾਇਆ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਜਿਸ ਮੰਤਰ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਇਹੋ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਹੈ, ਜਨਮ ਮਰਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੁੱਖ ਸਵਾਇਆ।
ਸੰਸਾਰ ਹੋ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਹੈ, ਜਨਮ ਮਰਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੁੱਖ ਸਵਾਇਆ।
ਜਮਦੰਡ ਸਿਰੋਂ ਨਾ ਉਤਰੈ, ਸਾਕਤ ਦੁਰਜਨ ਜਨਮ ਗਵਾਇਆ। ਜਮਦੰਡ ਸਿਰੋਂ ਨਾ ਉਤਰੈ, ਸਾਕਤ ਦੁਰਜਨ ਜਨਮ ਗਵਾਇਆ। ਚਰਨ ਗਾਹੇ ਗੁਰਦੇਵ ਦੇ, ਸਤ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦੇ ਮੁਕਤ ਕਰਾਇਆ।
ਦੇਵ ਦੇ ਸਤ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦੇ ਮੁਕਤ ਕਰਾਇਆ।
ਪਾਉ ਭਗਤ ਗੁਰਪੁਰਬ ਕਰ, ਨਾਮ ਦਾਨ ਇਸਨਾਨ ਦ੍ਰਿੜਾਇਆ। ਪਾਉ ਭਗਤ
ਗੁਰਪੁਰਬ ਕਰ, ਨਾਮ ਦਾਨ ਇਸ਼ਨਾਨ ਦ੍ਰਿੜਾਇਆ।
ਜੇਹਾ ਬੀਓ ਤੇਹਾ ਫਲ ਪਾਇਆ।
ਜੇਹਾ ਬੀਓ ਤੇਹਾ ਫਲ ਪਾਇਆ।
ਸਤਨਾਮ ਜਿਸ ਮੰਤਰ ਸੁਣਾਇਆ। ਸਤਨਾਮ